What's up, party people?
Hello, hello, hello.
It is I, the cheeseburger, that tasty riff. You know which one it is? It's when you're sitting in the car, you've just hit in and out. You got a double double animal style. You're about to wreck that really nice shirt when the best metal song comes on. And what do? You turn to your passenger seat where your dungeon master is, and you guys both start the epic headbanging scene from Bohemian Rhapsody. For our friends, a tasty riff is actually a dude I follow on Instagram who he mimics other famous heavy metal bands. He like you have the guitar solo of certain songs that the minute it comes on, you know, prime example, Bohemian Rhapsody. You know the minute that it gets ready to go into it when he's, there at the Mamma Mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. As they start to increase, then you know that very second, here comes the guitars coming in, the headbanging's coming in, throwing your horns coming in. It's the moment in a song when everything turns from this is great to this is the best fucking time of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and some of us, me, um, and how about you on this lab? Some days, the song that comes on my Spotify when I first get in the car, or I first sit down to do our pod research, or I get ready to clean the house, the first fucking song that Spotify plays for me determines how my day is.
No, I don't
So
let Spotify choose for me.
Spotify has made me its bitch. But for some like me, there are some that decide how their day's going to be by their horoscope. Have you ever used your horoscope or somebody else's to
No, but that's
determine?
that's a great idea.
For most, this is an entertaining way to look at your behaviors and reactions depending on what your sign says you will do. For some, it can be the major factor in most, if not all, of their major decisions. I've known people that have literally held off on much needed, very needed medical care because the stars were not aligned.
Right. I know people like that.
Tragically, for Danielle Johnson, a simple astrological sign became a matter of life and death. Put your star charts to the side, party people, for this bizarre episode. 34-year-old Woodland Hills, California resident and astrology influencer Danielle, air quotes, Ayuk Johnson, went by Mystic X Lipstick on social media as a self proclaimed Reiki master, recording artist, and astrologer who regularly posted zodiac descriptions, gave astrological advice, and readings to her 104,000 followers. Every podcaster, influencer in the room just went, "What?"
Right?
104,000 people tuned in every day, all day long, to see what Mystic Lipstick was going to tell them their day was going to go or their romance was going to go. When she started offering self help sessions in 2016 that included energy cleansings and healing sessions for a fee, she was labeled as an insanely true, skilled healer. I'm not trying to shit on anybody's parade. If this is your thing, this is what you do, this is how you get balance in your life, my blessings, go forward with it. I know somebody that's a air quotes uh, Reiki master that doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground.
Mm.
So um, if you were Danielle, more power to you. Danielle and her longtime partner Jalen Cheney, a retired U.S. Air Force engineer, lived a quiet life with their 9-year-old and 8-month old daughters. Cutest little girls you'd ever see. The little braids. Um, I'm sure you did that with your daughter when she was younger. You know, you give them the cute little outfits, and it's they're just kind of little mini yous. They're little mini me's. Uh, you're kind of looking at me like the fuck I did, but whatever.
No, I did.
Yeah, I had to put pigtails on to hide the horns.
Right?
That is until the first week in April of this year. Social media was all abuzz over the upcoming eclipse. Everybody who was involved in astrology and things of that nature were discussing the good possibilities that were going to be coming from this, very beautiful natural event. But for Danielle, things took a very dark turn, a turn that would leave 3 people dead and a 9-year-old girl alone and afraid.
Hmm.
On X, formerly known as Twitter, Danielle posted a series of off color posts that were laced with anti Semitic, some paranoia, some anti vaxxer and COVID conspiracy theory posts, but the most concerning ones appear to have come from a QAnon account. Lav, who or what is QAnon?
Um, QAnon is a they're a group. They're a group of people. I want to say gang, but they're not exactly like a gang. They have a very like black and white set of morals and ideas that this group kind of goes by, and whatever they think is right, they are very supportive of and very vocal about, and then whatever they think is wrong, they're violent and they're very discriminatory, and there's no in between with this group. They're very one way or the other.
Yes, you said it beautiful. Under
First
the
time I
moniker.
remember hearing about them was with like the Black Lives Matter.
Yes, exactly. They were posting underneath the moniker of Q on the 4chan website in 2017. And while there were so many people of us that were taking to the streets, taking to social media, and promoting Black Lives Matter in peaceful yet supportive ways, this group decided to go out and just burn shit down and loot and fight, and the lives that they were protesting to protect, they were also taking. But I'm not going to give them any real recognition other than these individuals believe that Trump is waging a secret war against a cabal of pedophilic, cannibalistic Satanists within the Democratic, Hollywood, and other government agencies. Um, I honestly would have laughed and said bullshit to this until I watched the Sean Combs P. Diddy documentary. and I'm not so sure anymore.
Hmm. Okay.
There's there's a lot of muddy waters and a lot of very famous and very wealthy people stomping through those mud holes. On April 4th, Danielle posted that the eclipse on April 8th was, quote, the epitome of spiritual warfare. On the 6th, Johnson declared, quote, you need to choose a side, end quote. On Sunday, April 7th, a cryptic message appeared. Danielle had posted, quote, the apocalypse is here, end quote. From eyewitnesses, neighbors, and Danielle's 9-year-old daughter, homicide detective Guy Galan and investigators have pieced together the tragic morning of April 8th. At 4 a.m., Danielle, with her young kids loaded into the front seat of her Porsche SUV, rams through the automatic garage iron gate, headed in the direction of the 405 freeway from her Woodland Hills apartment complex, where she had stabbed 29-year-old Cheney as he sat on their couch. After attempting to move the body unsuccessfully out of the apartment. So she has stabbed her longtime partner, the father of her children. She has stabbed him over 40 times. She attempted to leave the apartment with him, unable to due to dead weight. She pushed him back into the kitchen, loaded her 8-month old and 9-year old daughter into the car, and headed to one of the busiest freeways in Southern California, in California in general. Once Johnson reached the 405, she slowed her vehicle down. Let me repeat that. She slowed her vehicle down and ordered her 9-year-old out of the car.
She
When
just picked
she
her baby out?
when she refused while holding her baby sister, Danielle opened the door, pushing the two girls out of the moving vehicle into the middle lane of the 405 freeway and sped off.
Damn.
At approximately 4:30 a.m., police recovered the body of Johnson's 8-month-old daughter
Oh.
from the middle lane of the freeway. She had been struck by an oncoming car, dying as a result of these injuries. On the shoulder of the vehicle, they found Johnson's 9-year-old daughter, alive, but covered in cuts and bruises. 30 minutes later, police arrive at the scene of a solo vehicle accident in Redondo Beach, California. Danielle Johnson, driving upwards of 100 miles an hour, drove her car into a large tree on the corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Vincent Street.
Okay.
Um, Pacific Coast Highway is a very scenic, very beautiful highway. It goes right along the beach, Santa Barbara, Miami. But the minute you take one of the right or left, depending on which direction you're going, turns, you go straight into little neighborhoods and shops. And even through her extensive injuries, authorities were able to identify her, um, to identify the once successful influencer. So at 4:30 in the morning, she drove her car full speed into a solid oak tree in the front of a dentist office.
Okay.
No skid marks, no evidence she attempted to slow down. Police were called by neighbors who stated that the peaceful couple hardly argued and had no domestic disturbance calls, recovered Jalen Chansey's body from his kitchen. Neighbors were shocked by the amount of blood located in the hallway and the elevator. So, like I was saying, she was trying to take his body with her.
Right. And where was she going to take it? To
No,
no idea?
no one really knows. No one really knows why Danielle committed these atrocious acts, or what about the eclipse created the crack in her psyche.
Right.
Um, Nobody, there were no clues. There were no visible, it still is not. Here we are almost to June, and there are still no red flags other than those very few scattered posts on Twitter that warned people the apocalypse was here.
Hmm. Interesting.
One thing is for sure, the crack in the hearts of many couldn't be avoided once her 9-year-old daughter told police, I just couldn't hold on when mommy pushed me.
Oh.
I got cold chills all over again. I watched that I watched the this whole thing develop on our local news, and that you guys can't see, like I'm trying to wipe the goose flesh off. Um when you when they played it in our media nowadays, because local news has to try to compete with like social media and shock jocks and all kinds of stuff like that. They're more prone to putting very uncensored material out now. And you could see in the body cam video, you could see this little tiny girl. And
Just to the right of her on the shoulder, you see a bundle, a blanket bundle. That's all you see. But you can tell, it's a lump. It's not like
Aw.
a just discarded blanket. It's there. And you can hear her, and you can hear in her voice telling that officer, and the amount of remorse in that 9-year-old baby's
Aw.
voice, telling that officer, I just couldn't hold on.
Right.
It's terrible that she committed suicide, but in committing these atrocious acts,
I mean, she took the easy way out.
she did. But you know what? Good for you, because in public opinion, we would have executed you anyway.
so my question now for you is, what do you think the eclipse triggered in her and maybe quite a few others who didn't go to this extreme of an outburst, or this extreme of a crisis, but who that the eclipse brought some type of um, mental health crisis on?
I mean, really anybody that had some sort of mental health crisis happen, like because of the eclipse, already had the onset of it. This was just, I mean, paranoid delusions that were reinforced, like this reinforced any paranoid delusions that they were already having.
Yeah.
um I mean, I do believe like the energies and the gravities and the pull of the moon and the sun and stuff all affect us in different ways, just like it does like the oceans and the wind, but not to the magnitude that you're going to, you know, kill your kids. That
Throw
goes
your kid.
against all, yeah, that goes against all anything like that in any woman's, any animal female's nature to go against. So that's not just, you know, something that lasted 5 seconds in the sky is going to change your complete chemistry on mothering.
Right. Now, and I'm glad you said that, because that's why I was shaking my head, because that absolutely does go against everything that a mother is. We are bound not by law, not by public judgment. We are bound by our inner workings to fiercely love and protect our children. And
Well,
that
you
does.
know, she could have been suffering for postpartum. I mean, the baby was only 8 months old, and postpartum, the reason it is so dangerous is because it messes up that chemistry that women have for their children. And once that is gone, women don't have empathy. They're essentially monsters
you
if
you
that maternal instinct is gone.
You literally, I swear that we psychically uh, link up, because you literally said the very second part of that sentence.
Oh, did
It,
I?
yes, you did. And why would I expect any less? Because, uh, of how, of the type of person that you are, you already pick up on these things. Um, I wonder. I wonder if she had a successful pregnancy with her first. And I know some people may be out there shaking their head saying, no, 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 it doesn't happen this way. No, it does happen this way. And it's scary and it's weird, but it does happen this way. And maybe they weren't financially ready. Maybe they weren't truly. I mean, you can not be in a good place in your relationship, but not have just, I mean, there not every couple that argues or divorces has the cops called on them.
Right.
We
Right.
don't know where they were um 8 months ago in their lives when she became pregnant with the second child.
Right.
um Also, too, Lav, you can speak on this as well as I can. Hormones. Your hormones change. They change with each pregnancy. They change when your weight goes up, when your weight goes down, when you age, your
And honestly,
menstruation.
it takes it takes a very, very long time after childbirth for your, I mean, it took your body changing for 9 months to create a baby. So you can't expect the hormones and everything to go back sooner than that.
Hmm.
And it takes a
Uh,
very long time for all of that to and then, you know, you're like just just basic depression and stuff, because you know you have, now you have, every time you do a jumping jack you're peeing your pants, and you know you've got saggy skin and
but I have my nephew's partner. Uh, he and her, I just always say his wife because they might as well just be, even though, by law they're not. um he and his wife, when they had Bubby, when they had my great nephew, she slipped into a postpartum that terrified her,
mm-hmm.
and she suffered through postpartum for probably about the first year to year and a half of his life. And
Well, I've heard it can
she
last up until they're 3 or 4, like it can last 3 or 4 years.
Well, Bubby will be 6 in about a month, in about a month and a half, he'll be 6. And the postpartum scared my nephew and his wife so much, they
Do they have
decided.
Do they have a another does she have an older child?
No, this was their
Just the one?
first. This is their
I've
first.
heard that women that have had, pregnancies and, children prior
Mhm,
and didn't experience postpartum, that when they do experience postpartum, that they're terrified because they and I've heard women talk about it, that they just, they resent the baby, they hate
mhm.
the baby, like, and then they feel guilty on top of it because they didn't feel that way with the other one.
Yes, exactly. Um, but with her, it was a little different. There was no her depression didn't come, or it didn't manifest as hatred or disconnect from her child. It manifested as a deep-seated fear that
That she was that
she
she
would
wasn't.
never be
Yeah.
happy.
Well, and
She'd never be happy again.
I've heard women saying that they would never be able to care for it. They couldn't provide this baby
Yes,
like a good life and stuff, and
yes.
that.
And she was, and it has shaped their decision to not have any more at this time. I mean, who knows? Stuff happens. My sister and I are 6 years apart. Um, so it, but at this time frame, they consciously do not want another child because the postpartum scared both of them that much. It was hard.
Well, I mean, it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen. There's
No,
nothing linking it to be happen every time. I want now that they know that she's, more, I guess, because every woman is predisposed to it, so it doesn't make
yeah,
her any more or less likely since she's already had it. But now that they know the warning signs, they could get her help sooner.
yes, and that's something that I wanted to put out there for our friends, for our listeners. Don't think that simply because you either are on the road to becoming a parent, are a parent, or about to become a parent again, that this is going to happen to you. This is although it's a common occurrence, to this magnitude, to this extreme, is rare.
Right.
It is rare, and it's rare that people are unable. Some people feel anxiety, depression while they're pregnant or while their partner is pregnant because of the unknown, of the fear of this tiny tiny life is literally in your hand, and if you do one thing wrong, you're going to destroy this life. And for the record, that never happens, guys. It never happens. The one time you put their diaper on backwards, it doesn't ruin their life. You're okay.
I don't know. My daughter would probably tell you otherwise. So I'm brushing her hair. She's got real long, thick hair, right? And she's does a horrible job at brushing it. She always just brushes the top layer so it looks brushed, and then underneath is like just mats. So
Hmm.
every once in a while, I'll make her sit down and I'll brush it all out. And she's, there's a huge mat, and I'm trying to get it out, and she's like, just being an ass. She's like, "You're hurting me. You're ripping out all my hair. I'm going to be bald." And I'm like, "You're not going to be bald. Look at all this hair." And she was like, "Well, if you wouldn't have created me this way, I wouldn't be having these problems." And I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that.
And just a quick shout out to our friends over at a Call to Madness. I believe one of our friends over there, their son, um, threw baby powder all over the house, and and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I remember this that." So I said it, and I'm like, "Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the time my nephew decided we were uh, potty training him. And he decided, because he was a big boy, he went outside and he stood up and peed on the plants, and he watered the flowers. So he decided, it was raining, and he decided he's just going to pee in every corner of the house. So it was kind of like a dog marking their territory. He literally went around and just squirted little bits of pee everywhere. And so I'm thinking this is the worst thing possible. And I get a response back like, I would take pee over baby power any day. This is shit is everywhere and I cannot get it up. Uh, at that point, you just move out of the house.
Right.
So, cheers to you guys. I'm
Right.
I'm thankful that uh, mine has to clean up the messes he makes, but the
Oh,
messes never stop, guys.
no, they don't. They don't. Kids are nasty.
Kids are nasty. Uh, but on that, I do want to end on a little bit of a somber note. To this poor little girl. I'm not going to say her name because the world doesn't need to know it. All they need to know is there is a bright and beautiful 9-year old shining star that I pray the goddesses has swept up in their arms and has given her the tools and the family that is going to help her to live through this for the rest of her life and it become a reflection and not a costume.
Yep.
So, with that, party people, catch us on the flip side.
Bye.